Yeah.
Is closed above the range. Next, once again, a range is formed. Liquidity was removed, then the price was pushed higher, finally touching the range's high. It's the same scenario over here. A range candle formed, but it took some time for the price to take out the range candle's low. Then, immediately, the price changed its direction toward the range's high and closed above it. And the rest are the same as the examples that I just explained. CRT is basically an objective and mechanical way to simplify your trading by suggesting simple steps, fixed objectives, and rules, and also by minimizing the terms and conditions that you need to look for to execute a high probability trade. Now, let's see what criteria and rules we need to consider in order to identify high probability CRTs. Firstly, we need to look for the should be identified around the key times. For having a high probability CRTs, here are the key times that must be considered. For Forex market, we should consider the candles formed at 1 a.m., 5 a.m., and 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. If your identified CRT range is on the monthly time frame, then for entry, you should use the daily time frame. If your CRT comes from the daily chart, you should execute your trade in the 1-hour time frame. If your identified CRT is on the 4-hour time frame, then entries must come from the 15-minute time frame. If your identified CRT range is on the monthly time frame, then for entry, you should use the daily time frame. If your CRT comes from the daily chart, you should execute your trade in the 1-hour time frame.
Daily
If your
1 hour.
identified CRT is on the 4-hour time frame, then entries must come from the 15-minute time frame. If your CRT is on the 1-hour frame, then you can use a 5-minute or 1-minute time frame for your entry. If you use the 15-minute time frame to identify CRTs, then you should use 1 minute to place a sell or buy position. Now, let's see how we can use the CRT model to our advantage and explore how to execute trades in the market based on it. Here, we have the euro-dollar 1-hour time frame on the screen. As you can see, we have a perfect CRT model based on this 1-hour 9 a.m. candle range. We have all 3 steps of the power of 3: accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. After forming this large candle as CRT's range candle, we can see that the price swept the liquidity accumulated below the first candle with a wick, then closed inside the range. After that, the price was immediately pushed to the If your CRT is on the 1-hour frame, then you can use a 5-minute or 1-minute time frame for your entry. If you use the 15-minute time frame to identify CRTs, then you should use 1 minute to place a sell or buy position. Now, let's see how we can use the CRT model to our advantage and explore how to execute trades in the market based on it. Here, we have the euro-dollar 1-hour time frame on the screen. As you can see, we have a perfect CRT model based on this 1-hour 9 a.m. candle range. We have all 3 steps of the power of 3: accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. After forming this large candle as CRT's range candle, we can see that the price swept the liquidity accumulated below the first candle with a wick, then closed inside the range. After that, the price was immediately pushed to the high of the candle range. Let's see. If we were behind the screen and monitoring the market, how could we enter the market with this CRT model? After identifying our range candle and drawing the high and the low of the range candle as the candle range high and candle range low, we need to zoom into the 15-minute time frame to gain a clearer view of price action and also to monitor the candlestick better. In the next step, we should wait for the 9 a.m. and monitor the price action in this specific time. As you can see, price pushed lower and has taken below of the range candle with 9 a.m. candle, and after sweeping the liquidity and after conducting the manipulation phase, pushed upside and closed inside the range with this bullish candle. So, we have a confirmed CRT model formed during a key time. Hence, we know that the price is going to move higher and touch the highest point of the range candle. So we are looking for an opportunity to go long that we need to zoom into the 5-minute time frame or 1-minute time frame to place an entry. To do that, I am going to zoom into the 5-minute time frame and place my entry at the highest point of this order block and also put my stop loss couple pip below the area. For setting the take profit, we have 2 options. We can aim for the equilibrium or midpoint of the range candle, or if you seek for a more risky trade with a higher reward to risk ratio, you can aim for the high of the candle range. As you can see, after mitigating the 5-minute order block, the price pushed higher and eventually touched the candle range's high. providing a perfect CRT model entry.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage everything and anything related to your work. Your documents, your chats, your whiteboards, your projects. The value of this, you don't have to buy 5 softwares to do this. You don't have to be hopping back and forth between multiple tabs trying to find that email from a year ago. Instead, you can find everything in a matter of seconds, keeping your work and everything related to productivity organized in a single place.
You've got the business idea. Now give it the right address. GoDaddy has domain name options to make it happen. You're a search away, so go ahead. Find it, name it, buy it, and build it. Take your business online. Find the right domain at godaddy.com.
What's going on, team? And welcome back to the channel. Now, I posted on Twitter if you guys want to.
It's closed above the range. Next, once again, a range is floated. Liquidity was removed, then the price was pushed higher, finally touching the range's high. It's the same scenario over here. A range candle formed, but it took some time for the price to take out the range candle's low. Then, immediately, the price changed its direction toward the range's high and closed above it. And the rest are the same as the examples that just explained. CRT is basically an objective and mechanical way to simplify your trading by suggesting simple steps, fixed objectives, and rules, and also by minimizing the terms and conditions that you need to look for to execute a high probability trade. Now, let's see what criteria and rules we need to consider in order to identify high probability CRTs. Firstly, we need to look for the CRT around key levels. So the higher time frame candles should be identified around the key areas. Second, they should be identified around the key times. For having a high probability CRTs, here are the key times that must be considered. For Forex market, we should consider the candles formed at 1 a.m., 5 a.m., and 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. If your identified CRT range is on the monthly time frame, then for entry, you should use the daily time frame. If your CRT comes from the daily chart, you should execute your trade in the 1-hour time frame. If your identified CRT is on the 4-hour time frame, then entries must come from the 15-minute time frame. If your CRT is on the 1-hour frame, then you can use a 5-minute or 1-minute time frame for your entry.
Nearly
If
to
you use
1
the
hour.
15-minute time frame to identify CRTs, then you should use 1 minute to place a sell or buy position. Now, let's see how we can use the CRT model to our advantage and explore how to execute trades in the market based on it. Here, we have the euro-dollar 1-hour time frame on the screen. As you can see, we have a perfect CRT model based on this 1-hour 9 a.m. candle range. We have all 3 steps of the power of 3: accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. After forming this large candle as CRT's range candle, we can see that the price swept the liquidity accumulated below the first candle with a wick, then closed inside the range. After that, the price was immediately pushed to the high of the candle range. Let's see. If we were behind the screen and monitoring the market, how could we enter the market with this CRT model? After identifying our range candle and drawing the high and the low of the range candle as the candle range high and candle range low, we need to zoom into the 15-minute time frame to gain a clearer view of price action and also to monitor the candlestick better. In the next step, we should wait for the 9 a.m. and monitor the price action in this specific time. As you can see, price pushed lower and has taken the low of the range candle with 9 a.m. candle, and after sweeping the liquidity and after conducting the manipulation phase, pushed upside and closed inside the range with this bullish candle. So, we have a confirmed CRT model formed during a key time. Hence, we know that the price is going to move higher and touch the highest point of the range candle. So we are looking for an opportunity to go long that we need to zoom into the 5-minute time frame or 1-minute time frame to place an entry. To do that, I am going to zoom into the 5-minute time frame and place my entry at the highest point of this order block, and also put my stop loss coupled hit below the area. And for setting the take profit, we have two options. We can aim for the equilibrium or midpoint of the range candle, or if you seek for a more risky trade with a higher reward to risk ratio, you can aim for the high of the candle range. As you can see, after mitigating the 5-minute order block, the price pushed higher and eventually touched the candle range's high, providing a perfect CRT model entry.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage everything and any.
What's going on, team? And welcome back to the channel. Now I posted on Twitter.
चलिए चेतिया भाई आपका कॉम्पिटिटर आ गया $750 सुबह सुबह प्रॉफिट पकड़ लिया भाई फैंटेसी
How much do we place on kind of the AI makes their businesses future ready for tomorrow?
You're an expert.
This will probably go down in history as one of it.
Off production wait list. Off production wait list.
So it's already happening.
It is already happening that there are some threats out there that, relatively speaking, Beijing has been pretty restrained against retaliating against American companies of the likes of Intel, of the likes of Tesla so far, but these things could escalate more. how does the relationship between
partnerships, or maybe you have a university and a tech company and a government department all collaborating on big AI projects. That's definitely happening in China. At the same time, China is a huge country, so there's a limit to how much the government can achieve from the top. So a lot of what we see is sort of Beijing providing direction, providing ideas, providing sort of signaling of this is what we in the central government would be excited about.
Dan, how would you compare how the Chinese government is handling AI with its people versus how they handled social media?
Well, I think President Xi Jinping doesn't necessarily view AI right now. A lot of these ChatGPT
With the advance in technology,
some of the most economically productive things that are coming into our society. So I think that President Xi looks more at AI like he would at Facebook or Twitter, now known as X or whatever it is. And these are platforms like TikTok that, if you're asking me, is something like TikTok or Facebook really increasing my personal productivity? Well, I would say actually it is really horribly detracting from my productivity. So I think that a lot of these AI platforms right now create speech issues when an ordinary Chinese person sitting in Beijing or Shanghai
or
asks
Facebook really
AI,
increasing my
well,
personal
what happened in
productivity, well, I would say
1989?
actually
Well,
it is really
what
horribly
do you think
detracting
of
from
What do
my
you think of
productivity.
President Xi's
And so I think that
AI?
a lot of these AI platforms right now create speech issues. When an ordinary Chinese person sitting in Beijing or Shanghai asks AI, well, what happened in 1989? Well, what do you think of socialism? What do you think of President Xi's performance? These AI tools are having a lot of challenges, actually answering socialist correct values that are aligned with the government's ideas. So these are major speech platforms, first and foremost, and perhaps not really the economically miraculous thing that raises our productivity growth at the very moment. That it might happen later on. Right now, I think the party views it as somewhere between economically not that useful and potentially very socially destabilizing.
So from a consumer standpoint, AI is it can potentially create more problems for the Chinese Communist Party. But then if you look at it from like a surveillance standpoint or military type of AI applications, that's kind of in a different camp. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think they're definitely, one area where China is, I would say, leading in AI is on surveillance. They really have leaned hard into facial recognition, voice recognition, even gait recognition, so how you walk in a crowd, and they pick you out by that. I think in the West, there have been some development of these technologies, but with a lot of criticism from civil society, a lot of hesitation, sort of, I would say, like very yellow light. And in China, it's been blaring green light.
On the topic of WeChat, I mean, when we spoke ahead of this, I think we touched on the fact that there are some generalized misunderstandings about China's approach to social media and data and AI. AI relying on huge amounts of data, and the perception is that because of things like WeChat and similar things in China, that there's this huge pool of data that the population in China is very happy giving over and is used to giving over, and therefore is just sitting around waiting to be exploited by AI. I remember that you made a pretty significant point that it's like, that's probably not really the case, and people think that's the case, but it isn't. So I wonder if you could touch on that.
Yeah, I think people have this perception that because the Chinese government is very controlling and has a lot of access to what's going on in Chinese citizens' private lives, that means that there's these beautifully curated, extremely complete, large databases of information that can be used to train AI systems or to do other things. But for anyone who's ever worked with data, you know that cleaning data, structuring data, making sure that the right information is flowing in the right places is incredibly challenging. So it's both true that the Chinese government can get very detailed information on the private lives of its citizens if it chooses to, and also true that it's incredibly messy the way that works, and incredibly difficult for any given actor to get access to something. So, for instance, a company trying to train some AI model using data is actually subject to a pretty significant data governance setup in China, data governance regulations that make it really challenging to use customers' data for things it wasn't already designed for, that you didn't already get consent for.
Which we learned from Cambridge Analytica scandal, just as one case, many others. That is not the case in the US. It's
That's
not the case in Europe. There's a lot going on. I mean, the EU's AI Act is pretty widely praised by some people, not everybody, but it's quite broad and far-reaching. But that's not the case in China in terms of what you're saying.
So China's stuff is now more similar to the GDPR that exists in Europe. So around kind of protecting consumer data and giving people the right to opt into different uses. Of course, in China, there's always the exception, unless the security services think that you might be a dissident and then they're going to get whatever they want on you. But in terms of kind of companies, they're certainly relatively restricted in what they can do.
Switching gears a little bit, Dan, I'm curious about how China's sluggish economic growth recently weighs into the government's calculus and how they're thinking about AI's potential to spark social unrest.
I think that the Communist Party is very much involved in trying to think about, how to control possible social unrest. I was in Shanghai in November 2022 when there were protests in the streets denouncing zero COVID, denouncing the Communist Party by name, that these were things that were erupting. And so I very much sign on to Helen's description of AI, that China is leading in the AI of censorship, it is leading in the AI of facial recognition. That right now it looks very much like the US is a place where ordinary consumers can tinker with and play around on a lot of these AI tools. Whereas in China is mostly reserving these very powerful tools for its own use, potentially to control society. That right now, China is in a moment of economic weakness. This might deteriorate further, this might get a little bit better, but there is always this presence hovering over there that the state security might ramp up its technology really to make sure that there are no socially destabilizing incidents.
Well, Helen, Dan, thank you so much for being here. It's been great to learn from the both of you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Ya, yo creo que- No, no.
Good morning. This is Horizon's Middle East and Africa. Our top stories this morning. Treasury yield slide and began gains after data showing a U.S. labor market slowdown backs the case for supersized Fed rate cuts. Bloomberg understands OPEC Plus is close to agreeing on a delay to a planned output hike after a price slump this week. Plus, President Xi Jinping lays out his vision for ties with Africa, promising $50 billion in financial Sachi in Dubai. Let's get you up to speed on some of these markets because we are seeing somewhat of a stabilization come through. Yesterday, the S&P Nasdaq closed mildly weaker, but still does tell you that after the gyrations of the prior days, that a little bit of stabilization has come through, despite the fact that Nvidia is down 11% in 2 days of trade.
Ay, live.
Some of the data that's come through.
Ako live ba?
Dropping to lows not seen since 2021, and that catapulted these markets, the rates markets, a lot lower. You can see
Di mo na tulahon, ma?
it was trading at 3.76,
Ah.
rallied about 8 basis
Gani.
points in yesterday's trade. The market is
Lamig
pricing
man na.
more than 105 basis points of rate
Oh, baboy
cuts
na.
by year end. So again, the market is building on its expectations of what is to come out of the Fed in coming meetings. Some of them, some people, some analysts out there are anticipating a 50 basis point cut. Futures leaning slightly towards negative down by 10%, but we had over from Asia.
Dagaman kanon. Uy, as dosi na di ay.
Equities up 0.8%, and then Brent now
Mang kukakuan, as dosi na.
$72.85 to $72 is the handle. Stabilization is the theme today, but of course the complex is down more than 8% in the last couple of days. And we have put out a story, Bloomberg have put out a story overnight. According to our reporting, OPEC Plus are now considering pausing putting extra barrels back to the market, at least for the month of October. We'll talk more about that on the show. Quickly, let me just show you those JOLTS opening numbers, because they did drive the market lower, and this is what you're getting. If you look at some of this data, the number of layoffs has risen, indicating weaker demand for workers, but the headline figure has shown a drop not seen since the beginning of 2021. So we're back to levels not seen since January 2021. And all of this, of course, is set up into those jobs figures tomorrow, going to be key for market direction. But let's look at how some of these Asian markets are faring. April Hong is in our Singapore studio, standing by. April.
Right, Joanna, we're seeing Asia stock gauge pairing the gains from earlier on in the session, and this is, of course, a gauge that slumped well over 2% just a day ago, really steep selling. And so I think the rebound that we're seeing very slightly maybe points to stabilization, as you alluded to, but it's not quite recouping all those losses. If you think about it, how the chip stocks were dragging indices down just a day ago, we are seeing a bit of a recovery in Taiwan as well as South Korean chip making names, but not quite the case for chip related stocks in Japan. They are extending decline. There's an added complication for Japanese equities given the rally in the yen just a day ago following the softer dollar after the US job openings numbers. We also had some data out of Japan today. Labor cash earnings rose more than expected, and the yen extended gains initially. I think it's back to a bit of that weakness now, hovering closer towards the 144 level. Joanna.
April, thank you so much. And we are going to be talking more about some of the Japanese market developments later on in this show. But for now, let's just recap some of the news that we got up.
Mauna po dahil nila konti. No, nalabay ka man, nakita ka. Inaaya na ka. Ay, nagmakita. At ilan ang turno ma? O yung bis na doon? O yung bis. Sila yung mag-entertain. Pili din siya, kanta. Live man, ang pwede lip sync dia. Bayan na niya ko ay. Gaboy. Sabayan na niya. Sa bang grupo niya. Pero anong maulian man kung sabayan na, no? Tapos na palintang. Help me open the door, making me love myself a little more. Ano man, air supply? Sila man nga grupo. Acha, single mom sa beach. Amin yan, ano? Girl, but he believes and the dream is something I never known before. Girl, what he loves me and the time sila man ang grupo kanta. Kasi dili man shower na naman, turno na nila ron. Ha? Okay. She loves me.
This year, Team Green hits the road to visit participants in Samsung's Solve for Tomorrow program.
Yogi. Sila dahil tangan? Birthday din. Tagumpay ang aking isipan sa nuloy kikislap. Hey! Hey! This is your time. Pilit.
I know it's like your Super Bowl, right?
I can't wait. It's like opening presents in the morning.
All right, it will be exciting.
Nobody covers earnings like Bloomberg.
Shoe time!
Kilos-kilos na at sabay-sabay ating labanan ang best weather.
At syempre kung nilalamig ka naman at walang kayahan. Pwede tayong magyakapan, pwede humigop na lang ng mainit na kape o sabaw. Pampagana yan sa buong araw. At syempre, ito naman ang napagana sa ating tanghalian. Ang chill kantahan kasama sina Real of XOXO with Jamie para sa nakatanging selebrasyon ng karawan ng nag-iisang Happy
Thank you guys. Pwede mo na kayo sa ating mga people. What's up, mga people?
Ang sweet actually ng mga people, binati ka na nila Chang. Pero sa isa pang beses sa happy birthday Chang Ami in 1, 2, 3.
Boom!
People, thank you. Yes, thank you to our Showtime family. Kasi talaga nababawal ako ng bigo. Pinili ko yung regalo na travel ng tatay ko. Kaya hindi ko na-experience yun. At least kaya na-experience ko, tapos nadapa pa yung isang Jeffrey. Kasi malabo na yung mata. Hindi na kita may kapos. Pero thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. Happy birthday, Chang. Siyempre, ikaw unang-unang bumati sa kanya kanina with a gift.
Yeah, thank you all for the gift.
Naku, sana maibigan mo yung regalo sa
Thank you. Thank you sa'yo and kay Regine.
Yun ay galing sa aming puso.
Oh, thank you.
Maganda lang yung box doon, pero look doon. Ano yung look kain?
Thank you, Augie. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Pero syempre kanina yung hatid yung mga awitin sa Madlang People. May pa-trivia ako dyan. Yan ang top 3 songs sa playlist ni Tita Abby. Jesus, Thank You, Never My Love, and Call What May. Bakit ba extra special ang mga kantang yan, Chan?
Yes, yung Jesus, thank you kasi yan ang araw-araw na pinapatugtog ko sa kotse pag nagdadrive ako papunta dito. Parang yan na yung
praise and worship song ko kay Lord. Every day na tayo ay nagigising buhay, may blessing again. Kaya Jesus, thank you. Yung Never My Love, yan yung kinakanta ko sa mga anak ko nung baby pa sila. Tapos hanggang sa lumaki sila, natutunan na nila yung kanta din. And yan yung song ko for them. Yung Come What May, if you listen to it, yung words talaga ng buong kanta yan.
Lalo yung first
line, kaya hindi ko nakanta kanina, sorry po madam people. Kasi yan talaga yung kanta ko sa asawa ko. Yeah. Kay Papa Carlo. Yan yung kinanta ng wedding namin ni Agot Isidro. Thank you, Agot. Yan talaga yung message ko sa kanya. Kasi sobra yung the way he looks at me and the way he treats me, parang, like nobody else. Kaya thank you for the love, babe. Maraming salamat.
Ano yung ano para sa ano?
Never My Love.
Ang ganda rin nun, pagdating ng panahon, paglalaki na sila ito na may kakanta.
Pero parang ayaw na nilang kumanta. Kasi nahihiya na sila. Binata na. Si Adi, paminsan-minsan kumakanta. Pero parang natutulala tayong lahat. Wala kasi Thank you talaga sa lahat ng mga bumate. Since kagabi ng 12 midnight sa anak ko si Adi, I love you. I miss you, anak. Nagkasama mo kami last week, pero this week magkikita ulit kami. I love you, Adi. And to Kyle and Saya, I love you. Thank you also. And to Papa Carlo, I love you, babe. Maraming salamat. Sa mga magulang ko, syempre, to my Papa and Papa, at sa mga kapatid ko, salamat din for the love.
At syempre ngayon, meron kang birthday wish para sa iyo si Karil. Si Boy Dama.
To my roomie, my real tita Ami, kasi na magkapatid, ang kanyang papa at ang aking lola, si Mangga na nasa Las Vegas. Maraming salamat. Siyempre, hindi siguro alam ng lahat, pero ang dami kong pinagkahanap recently. And Tita Ami was completely there for me. And I think sila nagawugan ng lakas. Napakahirap.
Sila lang na dyan.
Kasi di ko rin naman gusto sirain yung taping kasi kailangan natin magpasaya. Pero salamat. Knowing that you're there for me every day. Katulad ng podcast naman ng Jesus Thank You na ituro mo kay Saya yung gratitude. Palagi lang tayo nagiging mapagpasalamat sa Panginoon at sa bawat isang nandito sa atin. So, dahil sa tinulong yan, thank you. I will always be grateful. Thank you. You do so much for all of us here. Mula sa gusto mong smooth ang show every day. You really have given us so much love. Thank you. Very small but many ways. Bawat araw, ang dami mong ginagawa para sa amin. Kung merong may maliit na problema, alam natin may kakatok sa dressing room natin dahil ikaw ang talagang takbuhan namin sa bawat problema. So thank you. I don't even know how na-survive ko itong buhay na ito, pero largely because of you.
Tsaka si Jack Ami din yung pag meron kang puhunan dito sa family, siya rin yung kumigit na para ayusin. Siyempre, pamilya tayo, hindi tayo nagtatampuan paminsan-minsan, di ba? At si Jack Ami yun, experience sa bawat isa yung mga nangyayari at mag-ayos. Salamat, Jack Ami.
Thank you.
On a lighter note, thank you kay Tita Tonette, your store sa kasi sa kanya galing yung magandang gifts.
Oh yes, thank you Tita Tonette for my lipstick.
Tsaka pag wala sa siyang Ami, wala akong makain.
Very lighter note. Alright, bigay mo na. Oh, Chang, wala ka po.
Ingat!
I love you, Ryan.
May gift ako sa'yo. In-order ko from Korea.
Wow, in-order ko from Korea.
Ayan, gipig.
Pinapaalala niyo si Chang, baka ma-ulit sa I love you so much.
I love you. I love you, Ryan.
I love you forever, Chang.
Oh, thank you.
Lahat ng guidance, lahat ng pinapayo mo sa akin, lahat, grabe, malaking bagay sa buhay ko na nandyan ka palagi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dapat tingnan siya sa kasal mo, ha?
Oo naman, Chang.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. I love you.
Kung may wish si Ryan kay Jala, dalawa lang kayo. Kasi kagigising nila, ito mga kapantulog pa.
Ikaw ba? Ako nga ni Ryan, no?
Ako, para sa birthday ni Chang.
Nabisip na siya kapag hindi ako magsalita sa
294. I love you, Ryan.
Jack, happy birthday ka mga video. Bakit siya mo kasi?
I love you. I
Siyempre si Father, yan ba din lamang na ikaw ay Father? Kasi dating mo kasi sa amin para ang pangil dito sa amin. Lagi mo kami dito nagdadala.
Nakakatawa yun?
Nakakawin pa lang, Bibon!
Ganito po yun. Sa amin, di naman nila ako na kumanta ka na naman today. Gusto ko i-produce yung next concert.
Ako na lang tutulong sa'yo doon.
Hindi ko alam pa si Chamami. Ito lang gusto ko lang sabihin. Simulat sa pool, si Chamami, kilala ko yan more than 25 years na yata. Kaya bata pa kami noon, binatang dalaga pa kami noon, kilala ko na yung, hindi pa siya Chamami noon. Ami lang siya noon. At magpahal ngayon, kung ano yung si Ami, ganoon pa rin siya hanggang ngayon. Maganda, mabait, diba? Lagi siyang nag-aalala sa amin, diba? Nakakatakot kasi siya pag nag-aalit. Yung sino yung kape, nagugalit na siya.
Bumaga para sa lahat yung nag-aalit. Sinama sa
At ako, I am inspired by, sino ba nakasira? Ikaw, Dabo, ikaw nakasira. Kasi nakita namin, inupuan mo yung, ako personally, I am inspired by your faith. No? Hindi naman kaila sa inyo yan na si Ami is very prayerful. Tuwing umaga, walang pati ka nagpapadala ng prayer sa amin. Na ako lang pumapansin. Lahat kami nag-i-email sa'yo. And that's because of her devotion, di ba? To spread God's love. So ngayon, na birthday mo, kami naman ang mag-bless. Meron kasi isang prayer na it's a blessing from the numbers 6:24-26. Ito ang tawag dito is the Aaronic blessing. And I just want to pray for you that the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you, gracious to you. The Lord lift His countenance upon you and give you peace. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Love you guys. Salamat.
Ayun, Ryan, napakaganda ng yung sinabi ni Kuya Kofi. Diba, parang hirap, higitan mo. Kaya ikaw nang susunod, anong gusto mong message para kay John? Oo. Joke lang.
I love you so much. Happy birthday. Anytime nandito ako. Isang tao, kailangan ako.
Sige, ulit niya yung sinabi.
Pwede ko i-text yan eh. Nasabi mo ulit. Hindi mo na.
Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Group up, meron tayo, group up!
Thank you so much. Love you guys. Thank you.
Pero dahil birthday siya kami, meron pa tayong mga special na bisita para sa kanya. Sino yan naman ito? Pupunta dito para batiin ka, Chami. Tawagin natin ang mga kaibigan mo from Sakto.
Hello, bro!
Thank you. Happy birthday talaga. Thank you. Naku, alam kong mahirap pero buti nakapunta kayo
Usually pag birthday mo, pag may birthday sa atin, nagsusurprisean tayo.
Yes.
Ako yung nasurpresa ngayong araw. Hinata ka lang nila ako dyan. Pero I wanted to be here. Siyempre to read you. Tama yung sabi nila sa nakikinig kami. Ito yung tunay na siya. Na talaga maalalahin. Tapos, nakakatakot ko magalit. Pag nagalit ka, katago na kami lahat. But thank you for everything. Alam mo, isang text na kami. May code word tayo, di ba?
Yeah.
O, paano?
Paano?
Pag paano, alam mo na may gagawin tayo.
Yes.
Thank you.
I miss you guys. I miss
Miss you.
working
Araw-araw,
with
di ba? Ikaw yung una naming kasama. Best part of the day. 200 years tayo magkatrabaho.
Yes. We miss doing morning shows, pero we pray to the Lord na sana soon.
Ano ka na naman, ha? May pagbabanta ka na
May
naman.
pagbabanta, soon. Thank you, Jeff. Lian, hi si Ariel.
Hi, John. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you for always supporting
Oh, thank
and
you.
welcoming me.
Thank you. Dahil lagi mo akong ginaguide kung anong weather araw-araw. Si Ariel po ang sundan niyo ako sa Twitter para alam niyo kung uulan o hindi. Ang ating ABS-CBN
Dahil dyan siya,
meteorologist.
Dahil dyan meron kang lifetime free weather forecast.
Thank you! Thank you!
Para pa maglalaro na.
Oo, golf. Papa B ang aming director po sa aming show before. Thank
May
you.
your wish come true.
Thank you, din. Si Lian, thank you, din.
Happy birthday, Chang. Mahal ka namin.
Thank you. Love you too. Salamat. Salamat. Kasi alam ko, hindi man mga humaharap sa PBN, pero humarap today. Thank you. Lalo na kay Jeff. Asan si Johnson? Parang wala.
Pinadala ko sa coverage eh. Gusto mo ba?
Pero thank you guys. And gusto ko lang din pasalamatan, of course, ang ating mga bosses, Sir Mark Lopez, Sir Carlo Katigbak, Sir Lu. Tita Cory Vidales, Tita Cory, I love you. Sa aking pamilya, maraming salamat. Sa aking mga kaibigan din na kumaga, thank you. At salamat din sa Bang Bang Burger, sa Happy Boy, sa Bubba Milk Tea, Asia's Premier Bubba Tea Chain Store. Now, delighting in the Philippines. Kakita Pinky ng Fernando's Big Shop as ever, as always. At maraming salamat din to my new family, ang Buena family. Magbibigay ng perfume para sa ating banlang people. Ano po yung Buena perfume? Sa Big Shop sa Shopee at sa Lazada. Thank you, Buena. Thank you din, of course, kay Riel at kay Jenia. Sa Jenia, maraming salamat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Happy birthday, Chang!
Thank you.
Sabay-sabay natin siya pa din. Happy birthday, Chang!
Diyan namin.
Family, mahal na mahal ko kayong lahat. Direct Chango, thank you, Miss Lani, Miss Rose, Miss Grace. Baka may nakalimutan ako. Basta lahat kayo, mahal ko kayo. Maraming salamat. I love you. Ay, salamat.
Thank you, madlang people.
Thank you.
At kung di ka lang kasama ang show like kids, sa pagkamalapit, susunod yan sa ulit sa our show.
Collaboration is key for team success. With ClickUp, you can easily manage your team's tasks and timelines in one app. Using our Gantt chart feature, you can map out your team's tasks and set dependencies to ensure everyone is on the same page. Adjust timelines.
Understands that OPEC Plus is close to agreeing on a delay to a planned output hike after a price slump this week. Plus, President Xi Jinping lays out his vision for ties with Africa, promising $50 billion in financial support, military assistance, and market access. It has just gone 8:30 a.m. across the Emirates. I'm Jemima Garcetti in Dubai. Let's get you up to speed on how some of these markets are faring. A lot of scrutiny yesterday on that JOLTS data that came through, indicating some further weakness coming through in the labor market. And of course, the big event is going to be the jobs numbers, those NFP figures coming through tomorrow, which will be yet another catalyst for these markets. Major pullback that we had 2 days ago. Yesterday, S&P, Nasdaq ended slightly in the red, but again, just a couple of basis points or so, and not as significant as the pullback we had the prior days. Even though NVIDIA, that stock, is down 11% in the last 2 sessions. So today we've got S&P futures leaning towards the red, down about 0.1%. The 10-year yield in focus yesterday, after those JOLTS numbers came through, we rallied 8 basis points, now sitting at 3.76. The market pricing in more and more rate cuts for the year. We're sitting at around 107 basis points now by the end of 2024. Asia Pacific overnight equities again, we spoke about this stabilization, but things are somewhat moderating in terms of the outlook there. Asia Pacific equities trading slightly in the green, up 4 basis points, and then oil also in focus. Brent still sitting very close to $70. 72 handle is where we are right now. It's up 0.3%. As this Bloomberg story came out yesterday, we have been reporting that OPEC Plus may consider pausing the increase in barrels that were poised to come through in the fourth quarter. So again, this has provided some form of support to the oil market, but some of the other drivers, including demand concerns, continue to weigh. Switching over just to show you very quickly these JOLTS openings and why they were so significant for market. These figures are showing that the job openings in the U.S. have now dropped to the lowest level since 2021. So softness coming through in the U.S. labor market. All right, let's switch over and talk more about what has been happening in Asia. April Hong is in our Singapore studio standing by. April.
Yeah, Joanna, let's focus on what's happening in Japan because equities there not quite partaking in a bit of a rebound we're seeing from the likes of South Korea, Taiwan, for example, from the steep selling just a day ago. The chip stocks in Japan are extending those declines today, and there's this added layer of uncertainty, right, for Japanese equities, given what we're seeing in the Japanese currency. Today, we saw it extending some gains after data that showed the labor cash earnings was more than expected, cementing the case for another BOJ rate hike, but also some mixed signaling perhaps from the BOJ board member Takata, as he said, yes, echoing the BOJ governor written statement earlier in the week that they will hike if the data justifies it, but also that they're watching the markets with a high sense of urgency. And amid those comments, we're seeing the dollar yen fluctuating around the 143.7 handle. This is what we're seeing cross assets in Japan, Joanna.
Excellent, April. Nice setup for our next guest. Real wages in Japan have risen for a second consecutive month, keeping the central bank on track for another potential rate hike this year. Let's discuss how this impacts Japan's financial markets with Hiromi Ishihara, head of equity investments at Amundi Japan. Good to have you with us. Maybe let's just pick up on the wage data.
So we do not expect any further hike this year because obviously the BOJ currently there's no need to launch the rates at this moment, but we do expect additional hike first half of next year. As you know, the economic indicator suggested that the wage increase is coming on the trend, and then also we see a very strong capex activity coming from private sector. So all in all, that suggests that the Japan macroeconomy is on track in the right direction. So the implication on Japan equity by a further hike by BOJ, in short term could be negative, but I think if BOJ managed to hike additional rates, if BOJ actually managed to have additional hike, that means the Japan economy is healthy enough to have additional hikes. So ultimately, that has the positive impact on Japan equity.
Yeah, I just feel like Japan, for so many years, for so many decades, we've been talking about the deflationary spiral. And yet now we are seeing inflationary signals. We're seeing real wages move into positive territory. What does this do for corporate pricing power and the fact that they potentially could actually start passing on higher prices to consumers?
It did. So I think it's the behavioral change that we've observed from Japanese corporate. It's actually they become more confident passing the pricing over to consumers, offering the better, product, better value for money. So I think it's the management is now more aware of the importance of margin rather than, top line growth. So even though we need to be, very careful how the consumption develops going forward, but we are very much optimistic about the corporate passing pricing to the customers.
When international investors look at deploying money into the Nikkei, how much of that is taking a view on Japanese equities versus taking a view on the currency if you're not currency hedged?
Well, I think it depends the investment horizon, but I would say the Japan equity fundamental perspective is quite attractive, especially after the sell-off that we observed in August. The valuation-wise becoming very attractive. So the currency, especially the yen-dollar movement in short term, is volatile, and we do expect that the trend continue with that strong direction in the short term. However, I think for the overseas investors, right now, fundamental perspective is great investment opportunity and in the long-term perspective.
So what are the specific sectors that you're looking at within the Japanese index? And the reason is in the broader global markets the last couple of days, we've started to see some skepticism come through on semiconductors, on the AI super cycle. How is that impacting your view of where you want to put money within the Japanese index?
So within Japan equity, we still like value because there's still a lot of story related to corporate governance, but also we've been pretty optimistic about the domestic consumption side. So finally, we start seeing the real income turning to positive territory for 2 consecutive months, and then also second quarter GDP showing that domestic consumption picking up. So we are more skewed to domestic oriented side of business. And then so we see a very strong appetite for capex from corporate. So we are very much bullish on the companies who can be beneficially from this strong capex trend coming from Japanese corporates.
Yeah, makes sense. Iran Tara, head of equity investment at North Japan, agreed to have one talking all the Japanese equities. The Ukrainian president Volodymyr Zelensky is set to nominate Andriy Sybiha to become the country's new foreign minister. This comes as part of the biggest cap set to replace Dmitry Kuleba, leaving the highest profile official to resign as part of Zelensky's reshuffle. So for more on this, Bloomberg's Russia economy and government editor Greg Sullivan joins me now. First of all, what is going on within the Ukrainian government? Why have there been so many resignations the last few weeks?
Well, what we do know is that Zelensky has said that he is wanting to take a new emphasis both in domestic and foreign policy. For a while, there's been rumors that a reshuffle would be coming, and it appears that he's decided now is the moment. It is a critical moment for Ukraine. They're struggling to contain advances in the east that Russia is making. They are increasingly relying on Western support to government and the war functioning running. So in some ways, it's sort of strategic timing for this, but he has long said that he wanted to take an emphasis, and now he does.
Is this going to have any direct bearings on Zelensky's ability to keep a cohesive government in place? Because, of course, they're all focused on the war efforts versus Russia, but at the same time, it seems like they're spending a disproportionate amount of time just dealing with internal changes and personnel changes, resignations, reappointments, in addition.
Christmas to you!
September 6 lalabas yan.
Wow!
Bukas sa all digital platforms.
Yes! Kaya naman Sean, sinong bata mo? Bata pin!
Ako yan natin, sino gusto mo
Ay, sino? Wala na akong pakialam dito.
Magaling pala, magaling po, tsaka pareho palaban. So, kaya tayo, si Imogen!
Si Imogen ang bata mo, kaya oras na para malaman ang chat.
Mahinay din, no? Kung na mag-live.
Strawless, lonely
Basin mo na ba?
Pangarap natin yung maging strawless sa buong mundo. Pero eto na, ang challenge, kailangan ipitin ng mga bata ang straw sa pagitan ng muso at ilong. At kailangan may pasok ito sa loob ng bote, bawal gamitin ang kamay. Paunahan lang na makapagpalagay ng 2 straw sa bote. Kaya ang bata nyo ay si Imogen, sabay natin itong gagawin. Okay, good luck kids! Magawa kaya ng bata mo na si Imogen ang challenge. 2 straw ang kailangan. Kitty, set, go! Tignan natin kung may papasok na Imogen ng pangalawang straw. Nangis na, babalik sa pwesto. Habol! Erika, try mo ulit.
Salamat, Imogen. Inaarap ko. May pamasko ka sa akin.
Wagi ang bata mo, kaya naman may 10,000 pesos na ipon para sa ating mga people. Congratulations! Okay, eto na.
Sing na sing.
Sing na sing.
mo naman, pare.
O kahit nabunot si Sean at si Teddy, may chance na mabunot pa sila ulit. Kaya, yes, pwede mo ulit mabunot. Tignan natin. Ang nabunot kong second player ay si...
Ito, tatanungin ko to. Ito, walang bias to. Tatanungin ko sino gusto niya mabunot ko. Tsaka sino gusto mo mabunot ko.
Si Ryan. I love you, Ryan. Kat pala, Ryan. Pag natin.
Ay! May why!
Tatlo silang way sa pangalan.
Dahil yan ang nabunot ko ay sige, basahin mo! Peggy!
Happy birthday, Peggy!
Sarap matulog sa bahay eh.
Ay, nakulang!
Uy!
Eto na, papasukin natin ang mga bata for our second challenge. It's Kelsey versus Erika.
Boys, bibigyan kita pagkakataon. Ikaw ang pumili.
Danny, sino bata mo? Bata pick.
Nakatugtog ko lang dito, binigay ko na kay Lord. Bahala kayo!
Bala ka.
Bahala kayo! Ano yung gusto niya?
Kelsey?
Kelsey? Si Kelsey daw. Ang pipiliin.
Kelsey ang pipiliin. Si Kelsey ang bata mo, kaya naman, oras na ng challenge. Ang challenge na ito ay tatawagin natin Kanila Lalabamba. Kanila Lalabamba. Gamit ang cute na toroto, kailangan patubahin ng mga bata ang 5 kandila. Sabay nilang gagawin ito at paunahan lang ang mga bata na mapatumba ang mga kandila. Kaya ang tanong, ang bata niyo ay si Kelsey. Makawa kaya niya ang challenge.
Kaya Kelsey yan.
Walang umaharang sa hangin.
Yes, walang maharang sa hangin, Kelsey.
Yes, taas ang kamay. Ready, Kitty, set, go!
Ang galing ni Kelsey, oh!
Yay!
Wala sa akin eh.
yung pala nyo. At syempre, may 10,000 pesos para sa ating mga pibo! Grabe naman! Listas ka, Eddie!
Tanggalin mo na ako dyan. Tanggalin mo na ako dyan.
Eddie, hata na!
Teddy ulit.
Eddie! Most requested ka, Eddie,
Kalokalit pa tayo. May kalokalit ako.
Ang susunod na maglalaro ay si Sean ulit! Ano nangyari na?
Ang nabulat ko ay si Kuya John!
Si Joey! Yes!
Miss Jobs! Dali! Kasi kasi.
Parang kailan ko Kasya yan! Kaya papasukin natin ang mga bata! For the third challenge, it's Chase versus Kelsey. So far, meron ng 20,000 ang matlang people. Kaya naman, Sean, sinong bata mo? Bata pick!
Okay, Jace na tayo kay Jace!
Si Chase ang piniling bata. Eto na, oras na para malaman ang challenge. At ito ay tatawagin natin Flip Showtime! May bolang nakapatong sa pinalitan na plastic cup at kailangan lang ma-shoot ng mga bata ang bola sa loob ng plastic cup ng 3 beses sa pamamagitan ng pag-click nito. Sabay nitong gagawin at ako na makakashoot sa 3 bola ang siyang panalo. Tignan natin kung si Kelsey ay magwawaki ba dito. Ang galing ni Kelsey, parang MVP ko. Uy! Jace, good luck, ha? Eto na, magawa kaya ng bata mo ang challenge. Kitty, set, go!
Come on, yes!
Go for it! Go! Para kay Joyce, 1,000 dollars. Challenge!
Grabe yun, Pastor Peter!
Sobra!
Ngayon lang pinawisan si Joe. I love you, sir!
Ang galing! Wagi ang bata nyo na si Joyce ngayon! May 10,000 pesos ulit ang audience! So, ibig sabihin, dahil na-sweep ang 3 challenges, nakaipon tayo ng 30,000 pesos! Pamimigay sa ating madlang audience! Okay guys, punot kayo 6 winners ng 5,000 pesos each.
Kelsey, bunot ka, Kelsey. Bunot ka, Kelsey.
First winner.
Ang namin na bunot ay si Benji Emasa! Ayun, nasa taas!
Next winner ay si Vargas Zenaida.
Congratulations! Next winner.
Next winner ay si Aaron Agassiz!
Aaron, congratulations. Next winner, Ryan.
Next winner, Camille Molina.
Thank you, Camille. Fifth winner.
Meron kang Mabin Asuncion. Congratulations! Yes! Ito na yung last natin.
Last na, sixth winner.
Si Morana Delio.
Thank you, congratulations sa audience. Yay! Biyaya ay makakamit mula sa mga kuwelang bulinggit dito sa Pagiging natin ang happy birthday ang ating napakasipag na associate producer na ka-birthday ko, Celine O! Yes, Austria, happy birthday din. At kay Dana, nasama ni Alex, happy birthday din.
Happy birthday din po.
Sino kaya ang mga bigating stars na buwisita today sa ating
145.
Matutukan yan sa pagmulit ng our show.
Merry Christmas to you.
Lunes hanggang Biyernes, hindi lumabas ang question of the day sa bawat primetime show. Kung lahat ng karakter na nagsabi ng maririnig na linya, pumunta sa joinnow.ph o scan ang QR code. Piliin ang tamang sagot. Kumpletuhin ang mga detalye sa form at isabit ang entry para sa chats sa panalo. Almost 2 billion pesos ang ipamimigay. Sa daily draw, lima ang mananalo ng tig-1,000 piso kada primetime program at sa grand draw, 10 winners of 50,000 pesos at 5 winners of 100,000 pesos. Kaya hula, panalo na sa primetime panalo.
With a successful, I remember that
Ah.
by the pool. When Carla said hi to me, hi Rika. Hoy, nulit ako nasundo nito. Yes, when I finally wala, ay sorry, charge lang ako.
Make your own flavor and memories with Zesto.
Ako, I remember. Sino kasing daldal mo?
Sarap maging bata.